Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Channels Television celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10. Here's a reminder of our major stories tonight. Rival group challenges the Bring Back Our Girls campaign organization in Abuja asks BBOG to allow President Buhari work for Nigerians. Heavy rains in Lagos trigger flash floods. Collapsed building kills one woman. Roads in flood-prone areas of Lagos and Ogun rendered impassable. President Muhammadu Buhari assures Nigerians that the country will emerge from economic recession stronger. And France demands vote recount in Gabon's presidential election after violent protests trail President Ali Bongo's victory. Just a quick reminder now that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. We have some of those pictures that were sent into our portal and we'll share them with you. Let's begin with this photo sent in from Olorunshogo Road in Ikorodu area of Lagos State. It shows a commercial motorcycle and the riders making it through flooded portions of this road. Similar to that is this photo of a man knee-deep in floodwater. It was sent in from Ekpoma area of Edo State. Our eyewitness reporter calls on the government to create deeper drains. And our next photo shows this man waist-deep in floodwaters trying to rescue some of his property along Forks Road in Aba, Abia State. Our eyewitness reporter calls on the government to fix it. And moving away from the case of flooding, here's this photo sent in from Ikene area of Ogun State, and it shows the impact of erosion on this road. Finally, here's a photo showing an overloaded truck traveling along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Our eyewitness reporter calls on the relevant authorities to end this growing trend. Thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and we ask you to please keep them coming. 4 policemen have been reportedly killed and a marine police gunboat in which they were traveling snatched in Rivers State. The boat was said to have been hijacked by suspected sea pirates and the officers abducted in Abonema waterways in Akukutoru local government area of the state. Residents told Channels Television that the gunboat left Abonema warfare jetty for a route patrol when it was attacked by suspected armed militants. According to the residents, the bodies of the policemen have been recovered from the water. The Commissioner of Police in the state confirmed the attack, adding that the command had been searching for the men. In the meantime, the Defence Headquarters today expressed concern over the spate of various militant groups springing up in the Niger Delta, the latest being the Niger Delta Greenland Justice Mandate, which claimed responsibility for a recent attack on an oil pipeline belonging to the Nigerian Petroleum Development Corporation. Now, the Acting Director, Defence Information, Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar, says the same group is demanding that residents living near oil and gas infrastructure vacate their homes. The Defence Headquarters notes that no group or individual has the right to threaten or force residents in any part of Nigeria to abandon their homes. Brigadier General Abubakar also affirmed the military's commitment to ensure security of lives and property, not only in the Niger Delta, but throughout the Federation. And in finding lasting solutions to the crisis in the Niger Delta, the United States government is calling for dialogue involving all stakeholders. The Deputy Chief of Mission, Mr. David Young, who met with the Governor of Delta State, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, in Asaba, says his visit is part of measures aimed at resolving the crisis in the region, which is currently telling on the nation's economy.
Yeah, I had a wonderful meeting with the governor. It was good to be able to understand more of the context of issues here in Delta State. The United States has a broad cooperation here in the Niger Delta. We work on a variety of programs from education to health to agriculture to focus on cooperation in maritime security and other means. So the United States is very committed to our engagement here. One of the things we feel is very important is the process of dialogue. So I am here to find out more about the different stakeholders and their perspectives on dialogue. It's very important, we believe, that that process of dialogue goes forward and that it be an inclusive process. So that's one of the things, again, that I'm interested in finding out more about and finding ways to support in ways that we can.
Nigeria's defense policy requires a complete review to enable it tackle domestic security challenges that the country currently faces. This is the view of the Minister of Defense, Mr. Mansurudan Ali, who received the 2015 National Defense Policy Committee's report in Abuja, adding that the existing national defense policy has not been reviewed in the last 10 years. According to him, this has made it difficult for the armed forces to effectively tackle emerging threats to national security.
These new developments and challenges in the domestic and the global environment have direct impact on our national defense and security. This also underscores the need to review the national defense policy as being derived the emerging threats and the security challenges in our country. In line with the foregoing, my ministry is also restructuring the armed forces to reflect the current security challenges confronting our nation. The restructuring will be based on building the capacities of senior civilian staff, especially those of directorship cadre. The staff will be required to undergo military capacity building courses to enhance their ability to handle the responsibilities of their respective offices.
Let's cross over to Abuja now. Here's Linda Akigwe. Linda.
Hello, Ijeoma.
Hi.
The Plateau State government in Nigeria's North Central region has reported 4 fresh cases of Lassa fever in the state. The State Commissioner of Health, Dr. Kudan Kamshak, told journalists today that the cases have been investigated as the samples have been taken to the diagnostic center at Irua in Edo State for analysis. Dr. Kamshak explains that altogether 7 cases have been reported in the state, while only 2 have tested positive to the disease. The commissioner adds that the state government has deployed health workers across the state to sensitize citizens on symptoms and preventive measures against the disease.
As of this morning, we're told of 3 suspected cases again at the Jos University Teaching Hospital, and as I speak, we've been able to take samples to be sent to Ira to find out whether they are really Lassa fever cases or not. So as a government, all we need to do now is that we have been able to train people to take care of this disease, right from the primary healthcare level down to tertiary levels. We've been able to train medical doctors, pharmacists, lab scientists who are saddled with the responsibility of taking samples. We've trained nurses, community health practitioners. We've also trained morticians and ambulance drivers in the event that we have some casualties.
To meet the 7 million target domestic rice consumption, the federal government says it is recruiting 100,000 graduates as extension workers in rural areas. The Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Albuogwe, says the scheme would ensure Nigeria meets the volume needed to feed the nation.
Increase local production. The gap is between 5 million tons, which would be our production figures by the end of this year, to 7.5 million tons, which is exactly what we need to consume. So the solution is to increase rice production improving rice seeds, seed quality, and also increasing the number of modern rice mills. There we have severe challenges which we have to meet.
And things are looking up for Africa in terms of sustained agricultural productivity after decades of stagnation, as much of Africa has enjoyed growth since 2005. That is, according to a new report released today by the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. The African Agriculture Status Reports says countries that embraced agriculture as a business have seen increases in food production, gross domestic product and nutrition. Our correspondent Ayola Kazim reports from the African Green Revolution Forum in Kenya.
Africa remains the world's most food insecure continent, with relatively low levels of agricultural productivity, low rural incomes, high rates of malnutrition, and a worsening of food trade balance. But the trend is changing. This change in trends follows the introduction of the African Union's Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, which was created in 2003. A key component of the program is its call for African governments to allocate 10% of national budget to agriculture and to aim for 6% annual growth rate in the sector. Countries that adopted the policies not long after its creation have seen productivity in the agricultural sector rise between 5.9 to 6.7%. The Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, which released this report, says the last 10 years have made a strong case for agriculture as the safest path for sustainable development.
If African agriculture grows and prospers, not only will Africa feed itself better, but the whole price of food in world markets are going to be fundamentally different.
Nigeria is one of 13 countries which have adopted the policy and are reaping its rewards. But the authors of the report say even these countries still have to double their efforts for a meaningful agricultural transformation.
Prices in the global markets are going to skyrocket. Not only will we have missed the opportunity to sell and make money, everything we need to buy is going to be more costly to us. So the challenge is just big, okay? The opportunities are there. That's why we need to double our efforts. That's why the governments and the sector stakeholders, CSOs and non-state actors have to go for excellence in managing these economies.
The challenges facing agriculture in Africa are many, but progress in the sector is possible when backed with political will, the right policies and technology transfer to improve productivity and reduce post-harvest losses. There is also the need for farmers to have access to quality seeds and, of course, land reforms that will free up lands for food production. Ayola Kasem reporting for Channels Television News.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Ijoma.
Thanks a lot, Linda. Now, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says regulations that will guide the time frame for the registration and approval of businesses by the presidential order will soon be released. Professor Osinbajo observes that the existing processes are often made very difficult by public servants who ought to ensure the success and growth of businesses through the offices they occupy.
A foundation of 300,000.
This is the public presentation and first annual lecture of the Interview magazine. Participants drawn from diverse spectrum of the society, including policymakers and captains of industries, are here to take a look at the reason for failure of business startups in Nigeria and strategies to save them towards a robust economic growth. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says the approval processes for businesses in Nigeria remains a major challenge, which he assures will be tackled soon.
The truth of the matter is that our processes are far too difficult, too fraught with all manner of bottlenecks, and there is a need for us to free up those processes. The President is already working on a set of regulations for ensuring that business registration and business approvals do not exceed a certain time frame that will be prescribed by presidential order.
The federal government has set a goal of moving Nigeria up at least 50 places from its current 169th position in the World Bank ranking for ease of doing business by 2017. But for such feats, The governor of Katsina State says real leaders are needed.
When the going was good, the economy was good, the money was coming, everybody was a good manager. But today, we are looking for real managers that can see us out of the current situation we are. This is the time Nigeria needs leaders.
Some of the strategies proffered for the survival of business startups beyond the first 5 years are knowledge before capital, financial discipline, retaining profits and earnings internally in the business, constant record keeping of financial positions and staying power, among others. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's trade deficit declines to 196.5 billion in the second quarter of 2016. And that's on business. To join us again.